Yes, that's true.
So I was an early investor in the Cyberjaya when the old PM, 2 PMs back kind of thing. 3 PMs back, 3 PMs back. So I still have a property there, but the rental, I'm okay. I've been getting rental every year without fear new tendencies. But is there any upside actually related to Cyberjaya? It's close to the Lim Kok Wing University, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
So you pointed out a very crucial thing in property where nobody wants to talk about timing, right? And we kind of run a few simulations. Like one, when you have a huge piece of land, right? Like Cyberjaya was meant for success, where it's all built up, it's based on a USB concept. Developer just come and plug and play. Not like conventional township developers. They need to build everything from scratch, right? So when it's too fast, all developers all come in, right? The supply just surge too high and everyone read the same property market report. So you have 7 to 8 developers all reacting to the same numbers, all created the same product. So that's why the slump came. And now in her company that we kind of spoke about, Cyberjaya also being that very underrated location right now, means whatever you need is there to an extent where like my kid, right, from Tadika up to university, I don't have to move house. So it's also one of those very rare cases where rentals went up about 30 to 40% year on year. So whether do you make money is based on your entry price. Is it a good time to buy when you bought? I will argue because it's the hype. Then you need, well, meaning your holding power also not bad one. You can hold so long bleeding, right? I will argue like when the whole market don't like a particular location is the best time to buy. So now you see now got MRT already, got university, a few university there, the rental product. So this developer built their Sejati. I'm begging them for one unit, they don't want to give me. Please sell me one, they don't want to sell me. No, not enough stock. So landed products there is amazingly good. Even to an extent where Garuda Cove is trying to build the bridge over to link to Cyberjaya, right? But the price of today is still lower than 8 years ago. Oh, so it's just a pure stigma kind of thing that, oh, Cyberjaya can make money one. And I'm in the auction market all the time. So basically, my social media is 3 things only: basketball, watches, and property. So, then until my son also, my wife asked my kid, "Where is daddy looking?" Houses. He's 4, houses after houses after houses lah. So now auction market no more already in Cyberjaya because of the rental picking up. So for those who have bought 2-3 years ago, or I would argue if you buy now also it makes sense. So is it a good time to hold? I think should hold, because you endured the worst time already. Yeah. So then the second question is maintenance point of view. Is the JMB performing or is the MC performing? If it is, then it's a rare thing really, because you have a few cases in Cyberjaya that is terribly run. So I would argue to hold. And when property bull run comes in, I think it's already here technically based on data. It's going to be a good thing. Are you going to buy the Cyberjaya project that you... Because the company is also...
my company. Not yet.
Yeah. So in my opinion, Cyberjaya...
It depends on the price I guess.
Yeah. So everything is based on entry price. And for those who wants to go into the market now, everyone will call you an idiot because based on stigma. The Cyberjaya, they know is 4 years ago. If you go to Shaftesbury commercial area on a lunchtime, right? Fight for car park one roadside. Even the I kena saman there. So that's why all park roadside, highway, the main road there. So it's actually jam one. Yeah, traffic jam one there. A lot of people sure no, so much land there. Yeah. So that's the thing where I like my job. I visit probably almost every day. That's the cool part lah. So again, the answer is to hold, but do think about opportunity cost, right? So that's because the toughest part you endured already. So now it's when the value goes up, what are you going to do with it? And this is the part that you can chip in a little bit based on refinancing lah. So maybe you want to push back when rental is good. This also highlights a point. Tough time, should you sell? Everybody wants to sell. You didn't, right? Then when good time, are we supposed to buy or sell? That's the part like, I'm making money, man, why I want to sell? Then when lose money, then everybody wants to sell, then the price actually drop. So this is a mentality kind of thing also. Yeah. It's Only one property or a few more?
Only one in cyber. Only one in cyber.
Only one in cyber, yeah. And I think also you highlighted the fact that we have so many prime ministers. And that was like the worst time ever for Malaysia. La. So like suddenly this current one is like 2 years. It's a very long already, you know. If you still around, oh? Wow. So suddenly it becomes very, very attractive. That's why we start to see a lot of FDI coming in besides the tariff. La. So I think that's the good thing that we are seeing from a property market point of view. La. Should we buy more then? If you can afford, why not at the right price? La? Yeah. Yes. Coming up, it depends. So we just discussed this in the live session also last weekend. We like to adopt the contrarian thinking approach. When everybody say buy, right, we very scared one. When everybody say that place I cannot make it one lah, then only we go and see for opportunity. So like a lot of projects right now, like during auction fiesta, whatever, right? Everybody, cyber, don't even touch. But a lot of people, because of their ignorance, they neglected the hike in rental market. And because the negative news, the launches in that location stopped for very, very long. So it kind of absorbed whatever oversupply that was happening. Now, like studio also 1,004, 1,008. My friends, you need 900 for very long. Studio unit. Like Tamarind, now you have some auction, but all retails. The residents, no more auction already. And do you know that they have a lot of atas schools around there? Korean, Japanese, and like, where do they stay? So it's just like at that particular moment of time. So when we look at auction also, it's always about like maybe 1 to 2% of the overall supply. Sometimes bad luck happen, right? Bad situations. So if it's like 40% of the tower, then something is wrong lah. Most likely some property guru did something lah. Not me like okay, yeah. So I would argue it's always entry price. But when a particular market is very, 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 very hot already, for example, the place that I'm staying in right now, I also very scared. Oh, Sean stay there, it must be good. But you already know how much I bought. So thank you for coming in. So for those who know where I stay, don't tell anybody. But now it's going for 1,000, 1,001 per square feet. And the sales, right? So 1,000, 1,001, and it's very, very fast moving, the sales, right? I bought at 700 plus. Yeah. Then the rental rates there, because I got no money that time, so I under the house key rent to own program. So my rental is like 1,008 only. The rent for my unit is 4,002. Should I rent out? I think I should. I rent out already. I rent the next door. Right? I still got balance for chicken rice and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much for the question. We can go on and on. But for those, finally everybody sit down. Okay, we shall begin officially. For those who are outside, there's still a lot of seats, and the Malaysian thing, it's still nobody want to sit in front. It's fine. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sean. If you don't know me, you are in the wrong venue, right? And thank you for coming, spending a very valuable Saturday evening. I have my very important person. I'm very reluctant to share her time with you all, actually, because I want her to process all my loans. So she's my loan person. She advises me on what to buy from her company, and she can tell me, like 2 days ago only, Sean, you want to buy one more unit or not?
It sounds like I'm a sales agent in a way.
No. So it's like I'm heavily buying still, and she has the most details of my income statements. Introducing Miss Reena Jong. Right?
Hello guys. Thank you. I think I need to introduce myself. A background, things like that. Most people know you. I don't think they know me.
So 可怜 man, say until.
Okay, a little bit background. Of course, my name is Reena. You can call me. I think I need to upsell a little bit on my Insta page as well, right? So that you guys can follow me. Just no aside. Little bit background. Graduated as a pharmacist, super long ago, and then I ventured into real estate. Venture into multiple different banks. I don't want to mention which bank. And then today I'm in a real estate company. So cut it short, 9 years in a real estate journey. Yeah. First did podcast with Sean, I think was back in COVID time. 2020. That's on the first property player podcast, something like that.
So that time, what was mesmerizing for me is her amount of knowledge about loans. Loan mortgage banker refer to her. Like, why?
Wow, the banker behind, like my brother and sister.
Yeah. Same line, same ship one. Then she neglected the part again, a lot of properties also. So that is when I find it mesmerizing. Like, property investment shouldn't be a guiding. I learned all my property investment from my mom and my aunt. All my uncle in my family, all tabli guna one. Oh no, it's on camera. Shit, I'm sorry. Then, and she is the person who looked through everything, helped me optimize my loan, like my income statement, my secrets is on point one. To an extent, like I'm buying CTOS report for fun one. Every month I look at my CTOS report one. Because I need to get ready for my next purchase all the time. Because she was telling me only like the last year, Sean got open slot, bank in 5,000 now. My drone was still on the air. Then I was transferring money to her, so I booked the unit to that extent. So we kiasu to that extent. So
I mean, it sounds like I'm a sales agent. I'll
No.
clarify a little bit.
Yeah.
Sean is actually my client, first of all, in one of companies called Far Capital. I don't want to talk about it today in this session. But it's a bulk purchase company. So Sean, technically, his success manager. So every single client is tied to a success manager. So, Sean is mine. So I have to serve you, right?
client. Like, you must put the word client and not mine. Okay, let's move on. So this session, right, I want it to be a little bit more different. There won't be any PowerPoint slides, right? If you want to watch all those slides, other show got a lot. So, but I want today to be a little bit more problem-centric. If you guys can share, like you have any queries at all, no questions too simple or too easy. Everybody's journey is different. So the difficulty for talks like this is I will need to address questions from a person with 25 properties versus a 25-year-old trying to figure out his first. Where do we draw the line, right? So I wish, like, for those who ask questions, I won't put you on the camera. I'll just listen to your voice. Be as selfish as possible when you pop up questions. But don't share personal income statements lah. You want to send to me, email is fine. It's very entertaining. Because I get this. I get a lot of secrets reports. I don't know why you all send to me. It's like I'm your credit card processor, you know. Oh, you're entitled for work card. Wow. So that being said, we can go question. Like, so that's how the gentleman here kind of asked the first question already. And that's the expectation. We can build discussion from one another. And best part is, hey, good to see you again. The best part is we can learn from each other. Property purchasing, property investment, right, can be a very, very lonely journey at times. The only reference is our parents, and the last property they bought was 20 years ago. So still valid, but cannot tell her that, you want to die, mate, right? And later, no dinner. So I learned that the very, very hard way, and let's roll, right? Any questions from the floor? Oh, got one more. I got a mic.
Buy these properties for investment. I'm sorry, I'm asking another question. But generally, when you buy properties for investment, there's a need to decorate it and ID it so that the new renter comes in. Is there a percentage that you should look at against the value of the property, or how do you actually decide how much to spend? Because there's a tendency sometimes, you almost get this feeling you want to stay there, you spend too much, not necessary because things get destroyed anyway. But I'm just wondering, is there a level playing ground that you can look at?
Wow, what a deep question. Do you have a gauge for your own investment property?
On a bank point of view, of course, they calculated based on whatsoever that you earn versus whatsoever that is your commitment that's stated in your secrets or CTOS report. Other than that, if you're talking about your living expenses when it comes to,
No, she's talking about renovation for the unit.
Yeah. Cut it short. I'm talking about bank point of view when they justify whether you can get how much loan, what's your buying power, they use that service ratio, DSR. But on the renovation part, who used to leverage on the bank to getting a financing and pay for that?
Means you use the leverage for the cash from the bank to renovate your unit.
Yeah.
Oh.
So in a sense, I think some of you might consider should I reserve 5% or 10% of my cash reserve money on the renovation? And some of it even your emergency fund or for savings, right? Whether is that worth it or not. I don't have this practice and I don't want to do that. I don't want to use my own money.
Okay.
So I think you know lah. So what we normally do here is that we leverage on the bank to get a certain cash out, but definitely on your property, you're already buying something at below the market value. So even you factor in this renovation loan, your loan amount or your monthly mortgage is still something that you can pay for it. Yeah.
I think she explained the source of money lah. She answered the next question already. The first question, I think the question is, I don't think that is the right mindset. Means it shouldn't be a percentage of the property. Because, for example, right, a 3-bedroom in KL City Centre versus a 3-bedroom in Kuala, construction cost is the same one. What's different is the land cost, ma? And should you base your renovation cost on land cost? That's the wrong calculation. So if you have done enough research or you just do enough renovation, right, you will notice that we calculate by room and there's a base spec. I would argue the shortest answer is as low as possible for as higher as of an impact as possible. And I'm attached to the makeover guys, so I'm spoiled, right? I don't have to even think about it. But the art of their renovation is not really do nice. It is do nice without hassle at the lowest price in the market. That's the key. Because a 3-bedder, no matter how you squeeze, right, nothing much to squeeze already, one. You get what I mean? But then for a 300,000 3-bedder and a 1.3 million 3-bedder, what would be the difference? Mainly, it's just the kitchen cabinets, the fixed stuff. And those are the touch points when you want to upgrade. So the better question is the segment of the property and the tenant market. If you are renting out to blue collars versus students versus white collars or expats, different furnishing strategies, right? But if you look at rental rates, will be a better gauge. If you're renting your unit out for 18,000, you smile already, or you get it, right? So it's a very different approach already. But if you rent out to students, you give good also, they don't know, right? Melamine versus plywood versus like what wood, same one, right? So the important thing here is different strategies have different budget. And instead of tying to, because a very simple answer is 30% of your property. But what if my property is 39 million? No, 39 million, 3.9 million, right? That's also one thing where, okay, since it's weird because we're in a property sales gallery, a lot of people don't know they spend about 1/4 of the unit price on furnishings. And I've signed off quotations before, $480 for a pillow. But sometimes also, if I don't tell you the price, the easiest way to gauge quality is by price. But a pillow is a pillow to the tenant. And that is where the makeover guys team is leveraging heavily a lot. Timber textures around the house and actual timber, right? How many of us can tell the difference? Like marble printed tiles, actual marble. What's the difference? Now you have the very, very thin type. Yellow tile, can we change that? Yeah. You know, kasihan je, everybody like hear half, don't hear half. That's how like materials are also innovating, like laminated timber floor versus actual timber floor. The weirdest thing is young people actually like laminated. Old folks cannot understand. You know how much I spend per square feet versus laminated, and you like the 6mm one. So that's the blur line. And when people are blurred, that's where room for monetization comes in. So when I have a unit, I will look at the range of the rental to who and what these people need. Only we will formulate the strategies in accordance to that needs. And sometimes we think about 3-bedroom, I furnish Gao, right, to a student accommodation, no point. Sometimes I split room in a very high-end location, it wouldn't perform also. I might as well whole unit rent out higher ROI. Get what I mean? So there's no fixed answer, but it's not that tough to, or you can just get the makeover guys lah. Use Sean Tan makeover. There's a promo code online, I won't put it here lah. Yeah, but great question. Any questions? Don't paise. Lai?
Hi. So I'm 25 years old and I just got my first unit last year.
Your first what?
First unit house.
Oh, first unit.
It's an apartment. But the apartment, although it's the same project, right? They said it has structural damage, but it's on a different block. So will it affect like my block as well, like my unit? Then will people be scared to stay there?
You want to take?
No, okay. If not, she sit there, then I still need to. Okay lah. For my perspective is this: rental investment point of view versus own stay point of view. Own stay point of view is absolutely fine, right? But based on your, I assume it's for investment. So yes, it will, because stigma. And this highlights a very important thing about Malaysians' buying culture. I always, because I have a lot of friends in Singapore, and they are massive property investors, the amount of data and research that they do for one project, right, it's tremendous because they only got one shot. So they do everything they can to buy the right one. If you buy the wrong one, you need to wait 15 years. HDB, for us, we buy like cincai one. Malaysians buy ikut feel. Singaporeans buy ikut data one. That's why they all make a lot of money. Why? Because it's so hard to get one. We all, as long as your loan can pass, you earn more than 4,000, let's go, right? So because of all this kind of nature, it's derived heavily on narrations. Oh, the building crack one, cannot buy. Then when you listen to the same guy repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, right? Maybe it's true. And how many of us are actually structurally or technically sound in this kind of thing, right? Can your rental still cover your installment? It's still there lah. Did it drop? Or it's still developing, and then it's fine one. It's developing because you can fix ma. It's not like hand over 5 years later crack my worst. Yeah, so that's how I will comfort myself lah. It's not like you can do anything also, right? But how do you know it's structurally? Is this the Roma wheat one? Oh, under investigation that one. Will I get into trouble talking about this? No lah. I'm not that famous lah. When is this VP? Or still got time? Malaysians construction skill sets are amazing one. Coming from a background contractor, so it's okay one. It's not too bad. And because ultimately when you hand over, right, quality is defined differently by everybody one. And the thing is, it has zero correlation to rental rates. That breaks my heart because I work so hard to make sure your tile straight line, ceiling straight line, paint nice, right? You come in and hack. Come in, laminated timber floor, kau dim. Walao, can tell me earlier, no? Like 4 years ago, don't need to lay so hard, lor. Right? That's the thing. And when you say, terrible workmanship, did people still make money? Yes. Yeah, so don't worry. Don't worry. But 25 years old, first property. Lose me a bit, but it's okay. Suddenly, kiasu pula. Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for coming. Like, wow. In front got seat one, Don't have to stand. But if you want to stand, it's fine. Any questions? Like, brother?
Hi, Reena and Sean. Okay, I have 2 questions here. So the first one will be, because based on what you say, right? Number 1 is intent, and then we look at the budget, and then also we view 20 minimum. So, and then after that, eventually we'll make an informed decision. So based on the view 20 and the informed decision, make an informed decision, right? So these 20 property can be from different locations. So when we view the location, certain location that yes, I'm familiar with, but certain locations I'm not really familiar with. So we are lucky in the sense that you did a lot of the YouTube videos to show us and a very detailed analysis. But the thing is, not all. So given that the area that we are that you haven't shared, or that you haven't covered, or the property that I haven't covered, how do we actually? How could you share with us? How do you actually do a research on a property, and to what extent you will reach to say okay to make the decision? Because like for one of the example, we talk about flood. So in terms of flood, maybe perhaps the previous area, Taman Sri Muda, it always flooded. How do we know? Because it go into news. Okay, same goes to, like, for example, Puchong, near the IOI there. It also flooded area. How do we know? Because the news state so. But there are certain areas that is not covered in news, whereby sometimes in flood, not to the extent that very severe, but to the extent that it could affect the people who are staying there also. So maybe in that case, it will affect the rental demand or what. So all this information, right, if we are not from that area and if it is not in the news, we wouldn't know. So back to my main question, I don't focus on flood, but back to my main question, to what extent that you do a research and what the research you've done before you come to a conclusion to say yes? This is my first question. And secondly, when we talk about the capital appreciation, So I have came across people that tell me, oh, this area, it has already reached a peak price, and therefore it's not right for you to go in. So the question is that when identifying into different locations, different area, how do you know how to justify it? This price is actually the peak price. There's not much room for capital appreciation anymore. Yeah, these are my two questions. Thank you.
That sound like thesis. Wow. I love it, man. I love it. Thanks for the question. Right? Research methodology.
Well, I think to cut it short, the first question basically in a summary, sorry, I forget. Technically, so many, for example, PJ, Damansara High, Mont Kiara Bangsa, which area should you choose, right? Is that the, cut it short, the question? How to choose?
How you determine one project? How you do research?
Out of 10, out of 20,
Yeah,
right?
when you look at certain areas, because 20 properties I mentioned, at least it can be from different area, right? Yeah. So if given that you are looking at an area that you are not familiar with, sometimes the buyers can come in, right? It always falls back to the area that you are familiar with. Which road is very jammed, which part of this area it will be flooded one, like for this kind of example. But when it goes to an area that you are not familiar with, to what extent that you need to know about that area before you make a decision? What are the kind of research that you will do?
I think first of all, if the area you yourself you are not familiar with, I will not pull a trigger or do anything. I'll just do more research. That's point number one already. For example, PJ. Today we're in PJ. If I'm not familiar here, PJ is so big, which section, things like that. Every different section has got different medium per square feet, even though you fall under PJ. So certain area, it can be, for example, just 500 per square foot when you talk about the transaction of the subsale. But certain area, for example, here, it can reach as high as 900 plus per square feet. So I think the first most important, before you even pull a trigger to know which area to buy, right, you have to familiar and understand that area. I think my company always use the right one. It's pretty easy, but when you do your own research, it's kind of hard for you to justify the median per square feet price in the area. So for example, if Sean, today you research here, you might think that PJ, the median per square feet for the right price for you to enter 600 per square feet. But maybe today, if I were to do the research, 700 PSF makes sense for me. So I think key point number one is the median per square feet. Second point is actually, what are the new story or upcoming booster? So we're talking about the master development, any new story which is related, for example, public transportation, and what kind of comparison. I think the most easiest for you guys to actually refer to is actually, what are the new project that's currently ongoing, and how much are they selling, compared to the one that you are planning to buy. So all these, and which brings us to the third one, I think, we have the definition when it comes to area analysis, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And just for you guys' information, whenever you apply a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 in Klang Valley versus Johor Bahru, it's different. So for example, a tier 1 in Klang Valley today, certain area, I'll give example here, Mont Kiara, Bangsa, Damansara High, all this is considered tier 1. Cyberjaya is not tier 1, sorry to say that. Soon to be. Kidding. Okay. Because he's looking at me, right? Thought that I will be pointing out. So all these tier 1, currently, if you're looking at their subsale, is already transacted easily 1,000 per square foot and above. Be it in a new supply or be it in an old transaction. And I think on the bank financing part, if I were to touch a little bit, because when it comes to valuation of a certain area, different bank has got different valuation guideline. For example, my brother sitting behind public bank. Public bank only have to appoint 1 or 2 valuer. They don't have to follow your valuation, which is your first alphabet. That's it. Some of the bank will have to follow your surname. So for example, your surname is alphabet C, right? There are certain valuer that already assigned based on this cluster. And as a banker, we have to seek for that to search for the valuation and begging the valuer to give us 1,000 PSF, for example, if you are planning to buy in Mont Kiara. But when it comes to, for example, another bank, Bank Harimau behind, okay? You have to appoint, followed by the surname and followed by the alphabet. So it's very hard for you to actually justify, when you do your own research, I go into Lao Yat, I go into iProperty to see, this is the transaction. and 1,000 PSF makes sense. But maybe the valuer behind only give you like 900 PSF in their point of view. Okay, so area-wise, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, for example, tier 1 is quite significant or confirmed to say that easily any area here is 1,000 PSF and above. So today, if you're able to find a property in Mont Kiara and the seller is offer you 800 PSF, then of course the pricing kind of like right already. So that's the first one. So I think this is how our analysis one by one, talking about median PSF, what are the area itself when it comes to the transaction currently, and of course the third one I think you might want to touch a little bit on the rental demand, how you do an analysis, things like that.
Okay. A clear demonstration of a person who is really into the investment thingy. From a normal, right? You like or not? Can afford or not? Let's go, right? So, but when you look into how, that's why I made this video and I uploaded on YouTube, right? It's about research methodology. A lot of people thought that, it's next door sell how much, I buy cheaper or higher, that's about it lah. No. Okay, so first of all, we developed this methodology in dissecting addresses. So that's the formal part where she said tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, we go into the rental market, past transaction price, median price, buy as low as possible when I want to make money, right? Provided you know. If you don't know, like if you go into, for example, Tanjong Karang, a bit too far lah. Go maybe Taman Mega. What's the median? You don't know. And the weirdest thing about property is this. One street away makes hell of a lot of difference. Second book, Mont Kiara, one street away only, right? Cyberjaya, Kamuna Cove, one street away only. PJ also. C Park and Taman Mega is two different things. Hey, you stay PJ, right? No, Taman Mega. Like, what's the pride? I don't know. I'm not from here, so it's too bad, right? Taman Sri Muda, Kota Kumning, one street away only. But you can see the difference, right? That's why the boundary, when they set up for research, right, is very, very different. I can sound very, very smart by going as deep as possible, but this is whether can you make money or not. That's the difference between home buyer and property investor. A lot of people buy things that they are familiar with, which is already very good. Means now, okay, today, he highlighted the 4 basic steps of Sean, because I don't know why I had the authority to name this system after myself. So weird, my name. Right, Sean's 4 basic steps. Number 1, I actually forget. No, what's the intent? Right? Is it for investment or is it for own stay? But when you reach a certain level of abundance, there's one more intent, which is to show off. Hey, really? Hey, you see that one? You got the 3 one, 4 seasons. I got 1 unit there when you were shopping in Pavilion. Whoa. That one, my dream also lah. My dream also. The second one is then own stay, then investment. That one everybody know, right? The second thing is to check your loan eligibility. It means how much money you can afford. Why this is important is because everybody wants to stay in Bangsar one. But how many of us got the income to stay in Bangsar? Correct or not? But it's very rude for me to tell you cannot afford. That's why banker also paiseh. One want to reject application. Bro, sorry, now banker got policy change. You cannot afford, then cannot afford lah. Why need you take care of your emotions later? It's okay. It's the bank's problem, not yours. So if you can qualify 600,000 within this budget, go check out 20 different properties, and it's gonna take about 2 years time. Everybody think tomorrow I want to buy property. Today I go forum, I check out everything, right? Maybe like if they develop an AI of me lah, or I collect money from you, either one. So when you have different properties, the beauty of Malaysian is 600,000 you can get landed. I didn't say where. You can get studio. You can get old, you can get new. So many different variation. Sometimes really money-making projects, when you go in, right, you don't want to buy one because how can a person stay here like that? Are they human beings or not? When one terrace house I partition into 9 rooms, correct? So you want glamour rent out, then can you afford or not? So throughout that journey, you get to know what you like. And it's always good to start from a location that you are familiar with. Why? Shop lots itself. Do you want to face the Pasar Malam? Or do you want to face away from the Pasar Malam? And how do you know there got Pasar Malam or not? If you don't know there's a Pasar Malam and you buy, means you didn't do enough research. If you buy the landed house, okay, like the Putra Heights one a bit different, right? But if you buy like from Taman Sri Muda, Wow, here cheap, the cheapest landed product in the whole Klang Valley. That's my house, right? Nobody want one. Then for you, you might think that it's an opportunity. But because then when you buy, like this morning they flirt again. Until my neighbor also like, sure, flirt again, ha 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 ha. It's so normal that it flirt to an extent that all their car got, they know when is the highest point to park, or they just book hotel and go and stay. Ground floor got nothing on their house. To an extent, right, it's so normal. You get what I mean? So I would start with the place you're familiar with first. Then the whole intent of property investment is what? It's not to buy the cheapest property. It's to buy money-making properties. And those will always revolve around tier 1 locations. So you can start from where you are familiar with and places that you need to know. That explains all the videos why I make so much, like the Mont Kiara, why I go street by street by street. Sure, Mont Kiara all same, high-rise only. That's why some make money, some don't. But the worst thing is, in online forum, those who don't make money are louder, right? Sean, what credibility you have? You show like 6 property only, Then when we come out and meet, I meet my haters one. Have you bought anything? No lah. My uncle got burned. That's why the hatred. Or luckily my auntie all make money. That's why I make money. And that's the narration. But online, if you look at the head, right? I reviewed Desa Park City property, which is amazing architecturally, right? Such a huge fan. Yeah, why the quality so cheap one? Bro, you can afford or not? It's like me saying Rolls Royce is not up to my spec. Can I say yes? But it's up to you whether you want to take it too hard or not, That is the problem of online research. So I will always encourage site visits. But I know everybody very busy. That's why I do the site visits on behalf, and I love it. So I will talk to the auntie, uncle, what are you doing here? Why you take camera so big, right? Then go eat nasi lemak. That's why I decided. So the second thing about capital appreciation, nobody knows one. It was only 7 years ago, I think, KL, not 7 years ago, 12 years ago, sorry. KL broke 1,000 per square feet. Do you know how much is KL per square feet right now? Highest per square feet, 1.8, No lah, 3,000. I last heard it's 3,005. That one balloon discount lah, we all know.
Transaction
No lah, asking but got people buy means true And how true is this? You see, straight away is transacted or asking. For those who like we all yum cha, go and chit chat one, right? I think got 3,000. No, I see got 3,002. It's like story topping, see who got the highest. What's the point of the conversation? You see? So like for Desa Park City, the one sold 2,000 plus per square feet. That one transacted. And when everybody thought Desa Park City gone already, too high already. No, it's limited by our own income. Again, I'm being rude if I were to say this like that. You get what I mean? But the easiest indicator to how much potential this location can go some more, it's the rent. When you have people willing to pay 8,000 to live in a location, there must be a reason why one. And for a person to be willing to pay 8,000, this guy IQ pretty solid one. Unless illegal things but that one, okay? So that's my answer. When you start research, of course the easiest one in the area of familiarity, then zoom out to locations that makes money. Why Mont Kiara until today is still so hot? Because can make money lah. You think we like the place, man? I like the place because you can make money, Okay? Second, how much can it go based on rental? Because like now my installment for my Mont Kiara unit is about 3,008. I rented out last month 5,003. You think the next guy is going to pay higher for my unit? Okay, it sounds like I'm showing off, but this is the example. Everybody, you. Right? So, 5,003, I can basically sell 200,000 more to the next buyer, and if he buys my unit, he still makes money from rent. So, means it's justified. That's why I'm so obsessed with why I want to fully make over the unit, fully furnished, to jack up the investment. Jack up the investment value because of rental very high. Right? For landed, then different story. Very different story. It's based on how much another person is willing to pay you to live in that address. Wow, very long, Okay? Good? Wow. So he came to the last talk. So this is part of a continuation of that question, which I think is good. So what was his last question? Go YouTube and watch the, the previous talk. Okay? And wow. Still got space to sit. Here got space. Here got one. Here got two. Anybody want to sit? Well, I'm like a professional MC at that. This is not my job. But Your case here got space to sit if anybody want to sit, but if you want to stand, it's all fine. We all Malaysian needs a lot of exercise. Me too. Anyway, like question. Wow, okay. Like, okay, before we go, right, for those behind, welcome. It will be so awkward. They just walk in. What are these people talking about? Welcome to the talk. I really appreciate it. This is Reena Jong, a mortgage specialist. Anything regarding loan, banking, you want her number, you talk to her, right? So, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, hi Reena and Sean, I'm Chris. Thanks for sparing your precious time in weekend to share with us. Okay, straight to the point. So I got one question
notes
for...
on, wow, okay.
Engineer, right? So one question for Reena and two questions for Sean later. So I want to ask, like, is it wise to use EPF to buy a house? So like, what would be the condition? Because like, given the, I mean, like the loan rate and then the EPR interest rate, right? So yeah, and then for Sean, right, is...
Later, let her answer.
Okay.
I just want to know.
Personally, I will not utilize my EPF whatsoever, account 1, 2, 3 that I have. Because EPF as of right now, the one that you can withdraw the max also your EPF 2 and EPF 3. Of course, EPF 2 for your purpose of housing purchase purpose. A little bit context why, of course, EPF when it comes to interest, I think easily for the past 5 years, your interest is 5.9%. Am I right? Easily there. And it's compounding interest. You do not want to waste whatsoever that you already accumulate since you started to work, right? And to buy a house for the down payment, 10%, But for me, why I say so, because we have a lot of options when it comes to property, especially housing loan investment, right? First one, if you are buying under construction, you can leverage on the end financing already. I'm not sure today you are 90% or 70%. Your loan to value, how many houses you already have?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Any, yeah.
That's even better.
We all love you. No, banks all love you. Here got one.
Okay. So this gentleman here today, he is a first home buyer. How many of you actually is a first home buyer? If you don't mind.
Wow, all season one.
Wow, all investor here.
Wow, semua orang kaya kat sini. Okay.
I thought I'm going to cover a little bit about first home buyer lah.
We were wrong.
Yeah, who knows all investor. But just to answer your question here, right? Why there's options other than utilizing your EPF? First one is a compounding interest. Let's not waste it lah. So I straight away give you a few of the options how you can actually leverage on the bank when it comes to first home buyer, those that raise our hand. Anyone know that what are the incentives based on the budget 2025, the latest one, as a first home buyer? If you're able to hit one, you can do a free 101 with Sean already. Or review the property.
Why you promise them promise them your time?
Engagement,
Okay.
Anyone can guess that? No, not you want.
The free stamp duty?
You're right.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought
So-
it's very basic.
Yeah, but just a little bit of sharing. Of course, the MOT is not, it should be the most expensive when it comes to your legal fees. I mean, as in your purchase cost. If you're buying undercon, I think majority of the developer already bear your SPA and loan agreement legal fees lah. But MOT, they will not bear for you. So that one is also the highest cost as a purchaser that you need to pay. Let's talk about 500,000, easily a 5 digits already that you need to pay upon when you sign the SPA.
So the MOT doesn't need to be rumah whip lah. Private project also.
Yeah.
First home buyer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So as a first home buyer, part of the budget 2025 here is that you will be able to waive the loan stamp duty. That's number one. Number two, the benefits as a first home buyer is some of you, if you want to go for it, you will be able to get up to 100% loan. Even though today, maximum you can go for is 90% when you buy your first resi and second resi. But today, if you got options, 100% loan, do you want to take or not? Yeah, some of you say, of course, right? But the bank also very clever lah. Your interest rate is also slightly higher lah compared to the normal one. Okay, so 100% loan, I don't want to sell, I don't upsell which bank can do. Majority of the bank today will offer you 100% loan. But the interest rate is slightly higher compared to the normal one. Okay, higher maybe 0.2%. Third one, I think the benefit here is that as a first home buyer, you can also leverage on your loan interest payment. So whoever that buy the property up to 500,000, you will be able to waive up to 5,000 when it comes to your loan interest when you declare your income tax. I think many not know about this. If the property is up to 750,000, you will be able to waive 7,000. That's quite a lot, leh. I'm not sure your annual income is how much, but if you today able to waive for 7,000, your tax pay to LHDN technically is lower or no need to pay already lah. So that's 3 points as of budget 2025 as a first home buyer, what you guys can leverage on. So other than that, of course, to answer yours, why you shouldn't use EPF, right? When you buy a new project, like I said, you're able to leverage on the end financer. Like this project, I think there's a lot paramount. Easily 10 banks can finance you, I think, unless I'm wrong. You got many options to leverage. Bank A cannot give you a loan, you go for bank B, C, D, E. And third one here is that when you're buying a property or completed property, you also get to leverage on the bank. You get a financing. If let's say you buy low, the valuation is high enough, you don't have to put out your money. This one is another level, we call it cash out, things like that. So hence why, to summary, why you shouldn't leverage on EPF and withdraw it, because technically your compounding interest is a lot higher compared to whatsoever that your housing loan interest. As of today, OPR 3%, effective interest rate is about 4%. You don't want to use a 5.5% compounding interest to put out 4%, right? Yeah.
My take a bit different. How gung-ho are you? So like, because, okay, this is not financial advice, right? This one will sound very extreme. So parents will bring their kids, right? You see? Shouldn't listen to him. Okay, I'm pretty extreme when it comes to investment, right? So when I got my first house, so if I were to start from fresh today, right? If I'm 25 again, what I would do, I would go for a subsale where the rent can cover installment first. Okay, but okay, so it's like subsale, let's say 400,000, my down payment is about 40,000, then it adds another 8%, right? So I need that money first. With that money, I buy already, I rent it out, I start rolling 6 months, right? Then for 6 months later, I can use this statement to qualify for the loan for my next unit. But brother, no money already, ma. That's already, I silang already, finish already. So when I finish already, 2 sources of income. One is you use banks one to buy new project. Then you wait 4 years, ma. I don't want to wait. So what I can do, I go EPF and take out money one. So that's what I did also. But my mistake is they only allow you to take out once. Or it's 10% of or everything within account 2 lah. So I took out almost everything because again I was poor. If I got money, why are we having this conversation? Correct? So, so when I do that already, I bet my second one. Then I start rolling for my third already. Then for my third, only I look for another partner who has another fresh 2 slots, so AKA get married. Oh, you didn't get it, okay. My joke, not so lame one. Okay, so from there, this is a maximalist point of view. Also now, at this stage, right, my belief is this. I use credit, maximize my credit to buy properties. Because if you were to put out full cash to buy properties, right, it's a rather terrible investment. Let's put it out there, right? But if I use other people's money, right, they can loan up to 100, 120% if you're a first-time home buyer, right? Solid, leh. Then with whatever cash I have, I invest in things that actually generate money, like stocks, crypto, whatever. Again, not financial advice. Okay? Then, for those who have already reached the certain peak of abundance, you still want to live with 4%, 5% per annum kind of returns, man. Okay, so this one is you can cover your ears already. Because first time home buyer, enough already. For those who have already, like I got solid 8, okay, not me, it's just example. If I got solid, like 8 properties already, my income is solid, my everything solid already, you still want to settle for 5% per annum kind of thing, man? Like, okay, that's why I have an NFT club. So the average age there is about 26. 4 of them cash buy Desa Park City properties, one. And now we are in this age of the biggest wealth transfer among generations. Get informed. Yeah.
Maybe I'm not hungry enough.
Yeah.
For success,
Correct. So that's a pointer also. Like you have 300,000 or 500,000 in the bank or EPF, right? For 6%, that one don't touch lah. But if you got extra outside, right, you still put in FD, man. Meaning like, this is the money where you buy a new car or you invest in something else. That's my point of discussion, right? This will definitely be taken into out of place, but that is for people who is already all good, right? But for your context is, I would use it to start rolling because I have another, if I'm 25, right, I will work another 50 years. EPF got time to grow, and you get what I mean? Ah.
I have to make sure I do gym like you to live longer also lah.
Hey, do lah.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, second question.
Okay, so this is more property oriented lah. So I think quite matched to the team lah, because I'm interested in this Paramount project. Because I actually work in Plaza 33 lah. So I was from KL, but because of working, I'm quite familiar with here lah. So okay, let's say I'm only interested in TOT project. Let's say I select. So how far does the radius I need to study lah? You can get my meaning, right? Right? Yeah. So before I can decide which property give me the best return lah. And then many people talk about good things of TOD. Can you share what are the 3 pitfalls to avoid when choosing TOD project? So yeah, this is 2. And then another Easter egg question is, do you use ChatGPT for your property research?
No.
This kind of AI tools.
Yeah. Wow, isn't it a big lie? Whatever you all watch off from ChatGPT. What a terrible thing to do. Okay. TOD, for those who don't understand, is Transit-Oriented Development. This term coined about 7 years ago during a planning meeting. Actually, got people use or not? Not really. Because there's actually another term called TAD, Transit Adjacent Development. So TOD, okay. That's why it's a very blurred line of definition. My true blue TOD, it's like Tropicana Gardens. I have malls, I have offices, I have covered walkway, air conditioned to the LRT. I don't have to smell even smoke, right? That is clear TOD. But again, there's no definition. So everybody would just argue that theirs is TOD. Like I went this one, very close to the LRT station, 50 meters, across the bloody highway. You want me to what? Teleport over, is it? How? So again, that's why you do site visits is important. And these are often done by, not developers lah, right? It's always the salesperson. I didn't say who, but anyway. Moving on. Are there going to be pitfalls to it? Yes. That's why any projects within our research, right? Any property price above $1 million, train stations or public transportation does nothing to the property. To an extent, we might argue that it brings negativity to the project one. Convenience and security is always in contrast one, in different direction one. The more convenience you want, the higher risk of security breach. Definitely, ma. So that's my take. But is it going to do good for this property? Okay, this is below $1 million, right? So that's good. And the thing is, if you compare to this project, we just talked about this project today, it's in a very special situation because there's no new developments in this address. Meaning in PJ. What other new properties that's being launched right now? Don't have. So now the discussion, the right question to ask is, must I die have PJ, or I can move like maybe Sri Kembangan? Because your other options are the MRT route. So I was having this project on that I want to do in my mind, right? I go to every station and look into, then I'm a yik already. I work like dog, and then everybody, whoa, thank you for doing research, Sean. Yeah, so my point is, if you go into all these different stations, right, and you look around TODs, that would be an alternative. But sometimes PJ has its charm. Like you work here already, right? Or PJ people will buy PJ one. It's very weird for us to have a hybrid like you, right? You stay in KL, but you want to buy here. Very, very weird one. Correct? So it's your first home, right? So just a pointer. You'll thank me later. Our first investment. Okay. First investment, then I would stretch a little bit, look at existing properties. Whether I got money or not. I don't know whether you got money or not. You look like you got. That's why I suggest to you, right? You look into Subsale, so that solidifies the rental demand. Because now we're talking about 2027 handover, right? 2028 handover. What's the rental going to be like? So does it make sense for me to wait? Again, this is talking from a very kiasu person. Why I want to wait? Why don't I buy existing one, rent out 6 months later, I come back and buy this one? Why settle for one?
Buy this one using Subsale.
No. I buy Subsale, right? Let the rental flow, right? Then I got 6 months installment. Tell to the bank, haha, I earn more money already. Now I come back to this property. I got no more down payment, But this project down payment very minimal, So I buy this one as my second. So I will kickstart the bull run with having 2. But if you buy one, new one, you will lose your loan eligibility already for the next 3 years.
Maybe income high, who knows, can
yeah lah.
sustain 2 units.
True. Good point. Maybe money is not an issue then.
No, I think what Sean trying to say is just how you can maximizing as much as you can buy something completed first, followed by the undercon.
Yeah.
I believe I should do more homework, right? Because my bias and curse is like, for newbie is, subsale is scary for me. I thought, in my mindset, I think need to do many thorough work so that I won't like, because if I buy from a reputable developer, right, usually new project like not so, I think the analogy quite similar but not exactly. It's like buying a new car versus a second-hand car. Second-hand car confirm is like, you buy, I mean like undervalued, right? But maybe the car leak got some
wrong person to talk to about cars. I have absolutely zero clue about cars, but I get your point.
Yeah. I mean like sub-sales, the pipe leaking, all those like could be settled one, is it? I mean like. Yeah.
Okay. Counter. Okay. Counter. New house no leaking. Okay. Number one. I'm not saying theirs. Not saying theirs.
Not only leaking, maybe got structure break also, right? Yeah. That's a risk.
Second thing. It's about certainty. Why people, like in my circle, right? Why rich people keeps getting richer, right? What they bet on, certainty only. Regardless of whatever asset class. If I go into a sub-sale, I exactly know how much my neighbor is selling. How much is the existing rent? How is the people? This floor got dog or not? Here got pasar malam or not? What's the view that I get? And how much can I squeeze? Everything. So, technically, I'm in the negotiation advantage. I offer what I want, ma. So now a bit harder lah, because last time I used to lowball everybody one. For fun. Just in case he say yes, that's how I get my deals, ma. Yeah, correct. Never know, ma. So, but when you come to developer office, this is the most comfortable setting ever. Last time developer when I started investing, no such thing one, you know. Sales gallery wasn't a thing 20 years ago. One. Everybody, you want site is there. Like that only. Got brochure, not brochure, leaflet only. How does a house look like? Imagine, no? That's why old folks will still, not old folks, I also old. Elderly folks, better term, they like subsale. And I have absolute clarity. So now that when I listen to all the complaints when new buildings are handed over, right, I laugh one. You want my view got blocked one? You didn't know? Yeah. So it's the level of research I will argue. Again, this has no correlation to the project that we're talking about today, but it's just about new versus old versus the strategy. That's why 20 different properties, right? And know yourself. Like, I would argue today, I am slacking in investment. Compared to her bosses. Sean, can you not be lazy or not? Brother, I wake up 3 o'clock already. How much hard work I need to do? You're taking your own sweet time. I see you can still chill around. Wow. Means what? I should double my portfolio. But then like, siao man, what if like one wrong turn, right? So that is where I would argue, yes, you have question.
No, I just share that like, give and take lah.
Correct.
Then you got your family time lah, which is balance, I think.
Correct. Yeah, so that's why now is, if you just settle for one new, if you buy this one, right, then the developer will thank me, which is pretty solid one, right? So now like, you have all the rentals done for you, all the studies done for you. You just come, you can qualify for loan. We love you, right? I will argue I will come back 6 months later. But the risk is no more stock. Yo, why you laugh so loud? Right? So a lot of people also like, Sean, by the time you finish 20 different properties, right? No stock, sold out already. Then research faster. Right? A lot of people buy already, only do research just to justify their purchase. Yeah. Sean, what you think on this one? Can you review? Why? I bought already. Then, talk for what? Right? Yeah. All the best.
A very quick add-on for Reena, because Sean mentioned about the sub-sales thing. Okay, because I'm at 30 years old this year, right? Because I heard that like the full tenure is like 70 years old, is it? I mean like the maximum is 35 years, ma. So as I age, right, will the tenure I able to get shorter? So does it really matters? Because people some say if shorter but your income already increased, ma. So yeah, what's your take on it?
I give one tips here. Of course, generally, I think all the bank in Malaysia, right, your loan tenure is maximum as 35 years or up to 70 years old. But I think one banker is not here, one bank is not here lah. The bank that start with MB one, and end with B also. Do not have this bank here. Okay lah, give tips. That one can be up to 75 years old. So today you're 40 years old. You still can get 35-year max with that bank. So not everything is 30. Some, I would say 35 to 40, depends on which bank you go for. But to answer, I mean, based on your age, of course, it's 35 at this moment.
30. Oh, sorry, max loan, yeah, 35. Yeah.
Max
So
loan 30.
sensitive, man, you.
Yeah, you know, this age is the transition time, right?
But no, it depends also on which loan package you take also. There's also one bank, AF, they provide you interest-only loan. The one maximum is 30 years. So it heavily depends on your loan package, your loan financing, which bank that you go for. But to answer your question, should we actually stretch as much as we can? I think we should, especially when you guys are young. Sean last time 40 years old, he told me, the loan tenure,
Yeah.
up to 40 years. But today you do not have that. But when you do, when a certain equity of the property already there, that's a second step for other investor here, is refinance. You want to cash out on the equity. Then at a point of time, maybe you are no longer 30 years old like right now, right? You are 40, 45. So your loan tenure is shorter already, maybe 20 years or 25. At a point of time, should you actually stretch as much as you can or remain whatsoever that you're able to get? I think it's case to case. But if you ask me, if you already serve a 10 years loan interest, right? You, unless you're very urgency, you got emergency, you want to cash out for other purpose, that the return is higher than this 4%, I think you can. But if you're talking about purely on saving the interest, I think you just refinance based on whatsoever the loan tenure that you're able to get. Because you don't want to let the bank to earn the extra interest. You get what I mean? Huh?
Okay. Let me put in layman term, right? I feel you. 4 years ago, I don't understand what she said. So, okay. So it means, does the loan tenure matter a lot? After my struggle when I started at 21, so by 22, I got my first property already. And my goal is to stretch as much as possible. So my first property got 40 years loan one. That's why the property makes sense for me, for an uncle, when he calculates his loan repayment, it doesn't make sense. Bro, you said your rental can cover installment. My installment, not yours, my uncle. Correct? So that gives us the leeway that it makes sense for us to buy, but not for the uncle. So it puts us in the advantage. Second thing, 15 years gone by. Now, the 400,000 property now is 600,000. You have 200,000 equity built. Then you paid 15 years already, another 100,000 built. Okay? So left how much? Well, like suddenly like quiz like that. Correct. So now in equity, you got 300,000. You still owe the bank 300,000. Do you want to refinance this then? Because now I got another 15 years to finish the loan. Correct? But at the old interest rate and the old tenure, I would, so the argument here is, do you stretch back to 35 years? So my leftover, the 300,000, my leftover loan amount is re-stretched again to another 35 years loan. So my loan repayment is actually lower. Then it means my cash flow is actually higher. The argument then is, why you want to pay bank interest? My argument then is income tax deductible. So never mind, help a brother out, right? You know what I mean? So again, if you, at that time, like let's say 45 or 50, I can basically cash buy the property already. So should you cash buy a property? Back to the very first statement that I think. If it's a home, your money, right? Do whatever you want. But if for investment sake point, I will take 100% loan. If I can take 150%, I will take. Right? Use bank's money to roll my equity, then use the cash I have just in case. Nothing wrong with my having cash in the bank. And that's the problem. I realize a lot of people, cash in the bank, like a problem, like grenade like that. Time bomb like that. You see the 400,000 there? Yeah, you sure got this discussion.
Because not many people think like a business owner.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And the fact is, people will buy one house in like 20 years' time. Every 20 years, people will buy one house. So after you do all the study, like him, right? Do all the study, right? You buy your first house, you won't watch my content for the next 6 years, man. That guy, okay, not bad. I buy my first house for me. Then second time when I come back, I see you again, right? Looking for second property already. But for investors, we are like, I'm trying to buy, okay, my goal is 25 properties, I'm actually behind time. At max, I can buy 1 or 2 a year, because I'm still makan gaji, right? I'm not like that millionaire kind of thing, right? So that timeline, so the entire strategy, right, is stretched to the max. And that's how I like to think about things. Is it a right or wrong move, right? I will stretch to the max here, and I stretch to the max there. The most conservative, buy one house, stay inside, whatever savings, put in EPF, lor, gao tim, call it a day, 60 years, have a family, tapao, right? The other one is to go stretch all the way. Of course, there's in between. So when you think out two possible end nodes, anything in between, right, all sort out. And that's a very good way to think about things. Especially you're an engineer, right? That's why I'm telling you all this. Right? Hey, you think I play one? But anyway, thank you for coming. He very kanchong already. Everybody focusing on him. Right? Any other question? Yes, brother. Wow, his face so nice one. You see, his skin from can reflect daylight one. That's how I see him.
Hey, I have 3 questions. The first one is, I'm someone who wants to invest, but I only want to invest is so undervalued that I have an edge against others. I think I saw one of your clip as well. So I'm quite actively looking at auction because that technically is undervalued, I mean, all else equal. So first is, apart from auction, what are the factors you look at to see that it is a bit undervalued, right? That is one. The second question is, when you do hold a property, assuming rent kind of cover installment plus the maintenance fee. So cash flow is okay. Let's say it's break even. Capital is increasing now, right? So how do you decide if you should just hold it and rent it, or it's time to sell because the capital is quite good, right? This probably happened to a lot of these DPC properties like Park Place, for example. And the third one is quite simple, probably for Reena. It's just when I take loan, do I really just look at the rates? Because I understand from bankers, they do always say, it depends on the package, you have to get MRTA. But generally, all are quite similar across the banks. So is the rates all I need to care? And then what conventional versus Islamic does it matter apart from that 10.x% cap? That's all, these 3 questions.
You want to take question 3 first?
This question is referring to taking a loan when it comes to auction properties, right?
No,
or
just
just general? Okay, generally because it's majority of my clients, their first is actually looking at effective interest rate. I think many of you here, rather than negotiate with your banker, or you are comparing, bank ABCD, which bank should I go and apply with? I think the first one you guys look at is the effective interest rate, correct? I think majority. So right now, the best effective interest rate you can get is as low as 3.78 or 3.75 for you guys' information. But can you actually get this interest rate of 3.8%? I would say there are 3 major things that you have to look into it. First one, what's your loan amount? If you're applying something less than 300,000 and you're trying to get a 3.8% versus someone applying more than 1 million, you think the bank will give you 3.8 for the less than 300,000 loan amount or not? Very hard lah. Unless you are the PB, the priority banking, in this particular bank. So first one is actually the loan amount. How much that you guys are applying with this particular bank. Second is actually whether, I think we touched about it just now, are you a first home buyer? So you go for the first home package, or is there interest only loan, or is that just a normal loan? So this different package will also lead to different effective interest rate. Then followed by the third one, which bank that you guys are applying with. So some of the banks standing behind, is as low as 3.8%, but some can be as high as 4.5%. What makes a difference is actually your own individual credit scoring. So a gentleman here that do a research of 20 properties, right? I foresee he also juggle his own secrets and CITOS report lah. So maybe his credit scoring is a lot better compared to the one that, I don't really check my financial report. When I want to buy property, only I go and check one. Your repayment on whatsoever facilities you have, maybe, you lapse 1 month. But you didn't realize that there's 1 month late repayment in your secrets. And this thing will actually affect your credit scoring. And it will lead to a bad interest rate.
On your question, I just want to learn. Then if foreign and local banks got difference?
I have a license with a foreign bank. Start with O. I just tell you guys. So I can do that with O bank. So I think I got a brother here also with an S bank, right? And with a B.
Okay, you got a lot of banks. Okay. I get the point.
So it's a foreign bank actually when you guys are applying a loan, is that easier to compare to a bank in Malaysia? I think highly depends on your own profile. What I mean by your profile here is that, are you today a local income earner, which means you are Malaysian, working in Malaysia, and every month you're earning a fixed basic salary, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000. Or are you someone that today you are a sales agent, you are a full-time commission earner, so your income on a monthly basis may be fluctuating. So this month I earn 20,000, I sell one property. Next month, alamak, jialat, no property, I earn 0. So from 20,000 drop to 0. Whatever the bank, certain bank they want to recognize, they can't put the same guideline when they go and charge you as a local income earner and you're having a fixed basic salary. The guideline is totally different. So I think heavily, what makes a difference is also, what is your job segment today? Local income earner, commission earner, business owner. Okay, so these are the three main ones. And I think I've spoken to one of the audience here. It's a Malaysian working overseas, working in Singapore. One of it working is actually Brunei. So these two also makes a difference when it comes with the local bank versus a foreign bank. Those that are working overseas, for example, Bank O, Bank U, will love you more lah. You are working in Singapore ma.
Yeah.
So certain things, I would say more to actually looking at your own working profile. I mean to answer Sean's question.
My experience, right? I will go with local banks if all the same rates. Why? Because last time I was struggling, then almost all banks I owe them money. But the overseas bank one, right, Moda King one, meaning right, cannot nego one. So like for the so to an extent that the banker who called me to chase payment, right, I already know their name one. So oh yeah, Kak Rosma, okay, hari ni akan bank in, hari ni. So they will give chance one. Yo Mr. Tan, ini sudah kali ketiga dah. By right, I kena masuk dalam si Krista. If you can make it by tomorrow, I will try to figure out. Then for foreign bank, they don't even call you SMS. You are late. That's my experience. So if I get any chance, I will always go local. Okay, so that's me because I owe money lah. But a lot of people don't go through that experience. It's painful. But you got a lot of friends like bankers. So.
I think general guideline, if today you are a local income earner and you're working in Malaysia, easily 10 banks in Malaysia, your profile should be able, okay lah. But that's another thing. So the local bank in Malaysia right now, I think the top one that can give you the best effective interest rate is also 3.8 ma.
No lah, but he's just saying like if all the rates are the same, any other factors.
Yeah lah, local bank it's also more convenient for you lah. There's more branches compared to foreign bank.
How about conventional versus Islamic?
Auction very related. Auction, the first tips, just go for Islamic. Because there's no lock-in period ma. You enter today, if let's say next year you can exit already, right? No lock-in period, you can sell.
Jeng.
But if you're doing a new purchase, it depends on the bank quota as well lah. Whether do you still have a balanced quota of this Islamic versus conventional. But for, I think...
don't need to point out which bank. Okay, don't need to
no
look at
lah, my Muslim friends here, of course, they will go for Islamic lah. So, but generally non-boomy, I think majority of us go for conventional. But for auction, Islamic.
I also go for Islamic one because it's better rates.
Yeah, like it's just a term sometimes when you read the letter offer, what's that?
But actually it's the same thing one. Okay, so just now that tip, right? So a lot of people don't understand. No lock-in period means what? If I buy auction properties to flip, right, in 2 years' time, right, there will be a penalty if I want to settle the loan like that. So that will compromise my profit margin. So if you go for Islamic, right, that tip itself, right, is the main reason why a lot of investors want to talk to her. But sometimes is, if you are totally fresh, right, I am so sorry. What is she talking about? What is lock-in period? What is this? But, okay, back to your first question. Auction is the way to buy below market value. I would argue, first of all, there's 4 buying channels in Malaysia. New, subsale, auction, bulk purchase. Right? You all can watch the video if you want to know more. But now it's about bulk versus auction. The trouble with auction is this. If you are inexperienced, if you're a first-time home buyer, I will argue no. Because there's just too many things, right, that you have not seen before. Suddenly, some banks can finance the outstanding maintenance, some banks cannot. Some is under master title, some is not. Some bank, developer bankrupt, some is not, right? But as a first-time home buyer, wow, 700 per square feet, cheap. That's all you care. And most of the time, a lot of people get their deposit burn one, which is the 10%. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. You want to bid, you put in 10%, right? But they forget that they cannot get financing in 30 days, 1 month. And if you cannot get financing in 1 month, they let you extend a little bit, 15 days, right? Cannot means cannot. Because now they don't finance, it's not like you are not qualified. The property itself is not qualified for auction. It's not qualified for financing. It means you need to pay cash. So the worst story, just to scare you a little bit more, right, is for a friend of mine. I call him a friend. A landed property. The land belongs to owner A, the house belongs to owner B. So when you auction, right, wow, why so cheap, man? Go and bid, right? You got the land, not the house. How is it even possible, right? So the bank, and when you talk to the banker, right, oh, this one normal case, everybody kena already. But what the agent get? The agent get the 10% down payment, the deposit from you, you get what I mean? So I was a guy, before the online bidding system was around, I got nothing to do, I need extra cash, I will just sit around halls. So people will pay me to shut up and not vote. So to destroy the pricing. That's how I earned a lot of money last time. 2,000 to shut up. Yes, sir. You want to make noise, man? So that's how I'm very familiar with auction. And the thing is, as is, where is basis. Last time it was a concern where when you buy, you don't know what's inside. But now a lot of auction properties are brand new, so it's fine, right? But I would argue, is it the lowest price in the market? Even if it's the lowest, right, it's for a reason. You get what I mean? So you got to make sure, like, what is the reason this project is the lowest? You get what I mean? So if we go into bulk purchase, right, why developer would sell cheap to people? Because wrong pricing, But I cannot tell the whole world I made wrong pricing, So I underground, I settle, right? But auction cannot work. So auction, is it really terrible? Workmanship terrible? Even auction got 6 rounds, also nobody won kind of thing. And the goal is this, again, we kind of repeat the point, right? The goal of property investment is what? It's not to buy the cheapest property. It's to buy money-making property. If the mindset is to always look for cheap, right? Bottom line sounding like a bird, right? Very bad mindset one. Then you always go into the rabbit hole of looking for things that don't make sense. Because if in a thriving location, there won't be any auction units, then your entire research methodology does not include that area anymore. Your area of research always include problematic areas. Then how, right? Then we only look at the listing price for below market value. About 72% of prices is ahead of market price one after bidding. Because everybody bid for the fun of it, First time, then now online one. Then all kiasu one, got money, right? So when you bid, you don't get the choice that you want. Then you just let things flow. You argue and fight for the price, while a better alternative is to go into Subsale, buy the neighbor. And I can get to see the unit, I get to see the view, go to everything else. But in auction, cannot. You get what I mean?
Just to check on that, then if I compare the price using Bricks and Property Guru's lowest price, so Property Guru, is asking now, so I go for reasonably lowest price, say. And from Bricks, I look at somewhere 25 percentile to median. So is that fairly good risk premium that I should take? Because I exchange from not being able to see it. So that is a...
Is this landed or high-rise?
High-rise.
High-rise then is okay. High-rise then is okay. Why? Because you will have like 1,000 units sharing the same problems. If it's for landed, the problem is specific to you, right? And sometimes it has supernatural things also. Okay? Jing, jing, jing. That's why I also have consultants on that. All people look at you, this guy for real or not? I have got consultants if you got other things that you cannot solve. Architects cannot solve one, right? We got another, you get what I mean? So I think that's good. And the best thing is if you need to sort out, so if you have a better auctioneer agent, they will tell you that this management is not covered, deposit by when, we can go to the facilities one, and they have relationship with the management office. Those are good agents. Some will just post pictures, right, to generate leads so somebody else go and close the deal. You get what I mean?
So, sorry, what is my right with that? Is that long then? So I will get some documents from the agents one, right? So what is my right when I go to the management office? What can I see? Can I have no right?
You are talking about after the purchase or before?
Before.
after the purchase or during the purchase, you got a document, it's called POS, Proclamation of Sales. Okay? So this is, I think, one or two pieces of letter where it stated who is the owner, things like that, every details information of the property. But if you're talking about before you actually commit to it, you want to do a site visit on that property, right?
All based on PR one.
Depends on the management
Go and
office.
do some mystery shopping, arrange with an agent, or go and see.
Correct.
So
Just
you see,
pick as a customer,
Ah,
right? To go
yeah,
and-
you go and
yeah,
kacau other subsale agent to go and see the unit. Again, these are the things that I don't think is moral, but
Yeah.
do whatever you need, right? Yeah, so you get what I mean? That's why, is this your first property?
No, it's not.
Okay, so then I think it's good. If it's your first, then I will argue to stay away. Okay? That's all right. That's all right.
The
I think
sec-
RPGT also, he asked about RPGT, right?
No,
Yes.
what's your second question?
The second one is because if you have 20, I presume most of your decision is to stay to rent instead of to sell it out.
Oh, yeah.
So what is your
What's the
factors
end game
like?
lah?
Maybe the top three things that you look at, like no lah, you pay me what also, I will still rent because whatever.
Okay.
So what is the whatever?
So I think if I remember your question, when do you decide to continue with the investment and when to let go also, right? So there's two school of thoughts here. Last time, like for me now, I said I will just buy as long as my holding cost is 0. I will hold until I finish the loan one because the holding cost is 0.
You mean if the cash flow is at least
0.
zero? Lah? Okay.
Break even, right? I'm even okay if the property capital appreciation is 0. That's how I calculate my net worth when I retire. Let's say I got 6 property today. My loan amount is this. When I'm 70, that's my net worth. 0 capital appreciation, and I'm all good because cost of holding is 0. Right? Then whatever capital I use to roll somewhere else lah. The second school of thought is you are wasting a lot of time and opportunity cost. So this ties back to her theory just now about stories. A cool thing about Malaysian, again, we buy ikut feel. So the narration of an upcoming development always perform better than the actual completion of the project. For example, Pavilion Bukit Jalil. The news about Pavilion Bukit Jalil did way better than the actual completion of the mall. MRT also. Wow, got MRT, but when you want to rent out, right? Oh, MRT lo. You get what I mean? So that's the narration. And I've seen enough to witness that, right? So when there's no more stories, it's time to let go. But then when you have such a unicorn like Desa Park City, it throws everybody research methodology off again. Because if you go into any expat, right, name 3 addresses in KL. Mont Kiara, Desa Park City, Bangsa. So if I got enough money, right, I would try to squeeze myself in those tiers because the potential is beyond ours, right? So that's one of the take lah. So there's 2 schools of thought, see which one you want. Like for me now, I'm adopting in between because now I use my wife's name to buy a house and she cannot sleep looking at the loan amount. I literally bought for her and I'm paying every month. I owe the bank so much money. Eh? But now the property, when it's money making, right, she will urge me to sell. Hey, we sell lah, then I don't need to owe bank so much money, darling.
That's why you see here not many female lor. All gentlemen here.
Yeah, lor. So that is how I will look at it. It depends on what's your risk appetite then here. And also, I like property because it's so boring. I buy already, right? As long as my flow is break even or 0, positive 10 bonus lah, right? I will just put it aside one. And I'll focus my entire attention to make more money and make more money and make more money. Property investment is to diversify wealth, not make you rich. But if you've done it with the intent of trying to get rich using property, right, that's the danger.
Okay.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
To add on a little bit, right? I try to look at a lot of auction properties lah. I didn't have any, not even one. I'm not sure.
Because your deals in your company too good already, ma.
Oh yeah, you talk about the bulk purchase, right? So for me, how I look into auction, that's my personal point of view here, is that people go for auction because for sure last time they want to flip, but I think right now people still got a mentality. I go into auction unless it's a new property that baru VP, then jialat, auction already. I think it depends on the price you enter. But if you're talking about old property, right, more than 5 years, and you're planning to buy, first I think we touched about the capital required. So whenever we buy auction properties, capital is very kanjong one. It's very risky. You cannot get a loan. You have to cash buy, things like that. Second is actually what is your exit plan and return, right? Like your question here. So which will touch the next one. If you're talking about flipping, this thing RPGT gonna incur real property gain tax. So it depends on which year that you exit. First year, second, third, or more than 5. I think right now, based on the latest budget, if you exit more than 5 years, still 10%, right? I
never sell before, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, but another good thing here is that every single of us, we have a once in a lifetime exemption when it comes to RPGT lah. So you're laughing. I think you're gonna grab that. So this once in a lifetime opportunity is in which auction property you want to use, or is that your current properties that you're holding, right? So for me, I still cannot figure out the fundamental when it comes to the percentage. Is that more than 30% or is that more than 40? Because if you exceed anything less than 5 years, anything less than 3 years, I think, you still have to incur a 30%. Yeah, correct? Huh? So unless you're able to buy something that is like 40% gain already, I think it's okay. So for right now, I cannot get that kind of deal lah. I mean, in my research. So I think that's a roadblock currently, but overall, I think, yeah, that's about when it comes to auction RPGT.
Just one last question is, do the internal bankers get the first-hand knowledge of the auction, and do they get to bid first? So do I get only those that they don't want?
Actually, very good question. Before actually, lelong out, auction out, internally, yes lah, bank staff, we kind of like got the first-hand pick if we want lah. But this kind of deal, bear in mind also, you require a lot of cash because easily upfront you have to pay
a lot.
Easily 20-30% lah. Yeah.
So the risk is a lot of uncertainty, whether you can take loan or not, whether the property okay or not, then whether we're RPGT or not, whether like so many questions, right? Might as well just go for the alternative. You get what I mean? Yeah. So much effort to maybe make money.
It's not easy.
I want pretty easy but confirm make money. Yeah, that's the comparison. Brother, you got a question?
Thank you.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. I'm O. So I have 3 questions for Reena, 1 question for Sean. Okay, so my first question is, very often we are advised, when we buy a new property, we don't go in too early because of the progressive interest, right? So progressive interest doesn't actually deduct our principal. So you're just paying the bank for the bank to be happy, basically, right? Okay, so my question is this. So let's say, right, we have a person A, he entered the property super early bird, right? So he entered the property, he got it for 600,000. Okay, so the first 5 years, he's serving progressive interest. Then the next 30 years, he's serving the full loan. That means he's paying about 3,000 a month for 30 years. Then we have person B, he bought it almost completion. Let's say he purchased it same price, assuming 600,000, then he's paying 3,000 for 35 years, right? So at the end of the day, based on calculation and logic, person B will actually fork out more money than person A, right? This in spite of the progressive interest. Is this correct?
Well, this one have to do a case study comparison. Because you see, if you are buying under construction, not all the situation is 5 years. If you enter at the second year or third year, then you might left with only serving 1 year of progressive interest.
Understand.
But it also depends how fast the project actually ongoing. I don't want to say abandoned or whatsoever lah. Because it highly depends on how fast they actually bill you by stage. This one a bit complicated. When it comes to stage of billing, right, you have stage 1, 2, A, B, C, D, E. So stage 1, of course, is upon when you sign the SPA, that's the first 10% already. So, but to cut it short on the comparison, if let's say assuming today you are buying a completed project and you do not have to pay this progressive interest, there's one thing also, I talk about it, save interest. So if every month you do an extra payment, prepayment of 100 ringgit, your total interest payable versus your total principal also not same already. So you know what I mean?
I understand. But let's say, for example, they really pay 3,000, no extra, no less. Apple to apple comparison, right? Person A and person B, they are serving their loan full term. At the end of the day, does person A pay less than person B? This is what I want to know.
I think technically, because this will never happen in real life.
Yes.
Right? So it's just for argument's sake, right?
Yes.
So technically, B will save more interest. Right? But if you're a developer, real estate is operating in a finite situation. When I have 500 units left, my selling price to you is different. When I have 100 units left, you think it will be the same price, man? And it's a very wrong operating system also to think about saving interest so I buy later. You get what I mean? So, and that interest, right, you think about it, right, how much percentage compared to the actual amount. So that's why I absolutely appreciate why she's here, right? All the very little things, higher or lower, that's a definite answer, right? But in real life, right, we all zoom down to all these little numbers, we're losing the bigger picture. This property can make money or not? Like, okay, unit 0808, now available, I book now, okay? But I want to sign SPA 2 years later. Bro, never mind, I take my chances, I come back in 2 years' time, see if still a god or not. What are the chances, right? You get what I mean? So it's cool that we argue these kind of questions, but theoretically, I think you have the answer. But yeah,
For sure, your progressive interest is something that burned already lah.
I understand.
You know, you can't earn back that type of interest when you buy under construction.
Correct. So then it's an interesting thing if you look into bulk purchases where leftover projects, then that will be a good thing. Without compromising my extra interest to pay, I get just selection of units, right? And I get to pick the unit that I really like at the price that I want. But then it depends on your cable, your size of the cable strong or not, to the developer or to the deals. Again, it's a bonus element when you make decisions. It's not supposed to be a key element of your decision making.
Understand.
Right?
All
Cool.
right. So my second question is, recently there's a bank scandal in Singapore, right? Or for one of the bank that starts with U, right? So let's say, for example, if I have a loan with this bank, and for example, the bank suddenly closed down, right? So what happens to the loan?
Wow, this one. If you're talking about you buy an abandoned project, you got the loan, right? The answer is you still have to survey it, lor. But if let's say the bank closed down, wind down, right? Not the U bank, the scandal, that one. There's one bank start with KU one. It's winding down actually. So we are, the banker, we are also debating what will happen lah. I don't have a firm answer on this. I'm not so sure. Because this is also a question, it's something not we can predict, right? You know, I don't know.
But if I take loan from this bank, then this bank is supposed to pay developer everything, right? So let's say now, if the project is completed, then no issue lah. Means you close down. I want to pay, but nobody will pay ma. How say lah, right? Technically lah, in theory, right? But you just again think about it, right? Why people make loans is for business ma. So for another bank to acquire your banks, right? They would have looked into the amount of cash flow for the next 8 years one ma. Sure got acquisition one. Sure got one. Because you're desperate already. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Unless we are in China, then whole different thing lah, right?
So in that case, worst case scenario, if acquisition take place, then my interest rate increase, I just refinance it to reduce the interest rate lah.
But again, I don't think they will damage their existing clientele lah. You get what I mean? So it's ultimately it's a business. Yeah. So they will always try their best to serve the customer in their best interest.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if let's say a project terbengkalai or abandoned, let's say already reached 70, 80, there's also somebody will acquire.
No.
Not really.
Wait,
right?
one is developer bankrupt, one is bank bankrupt, different thing.
So this is developer versus a bank. Bank, I don't think in history it happens
No lah, I don't think in Malaysia it will lah.
Yeah.
Maybe
So that one is
Malaysia
a Middle
bank
Eastern bank lah, the one that I mentioned just now.
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen lah, bro.
Okay, understand. My third question is, earlier you mentioned about 100% loan, right? So if let's say my younger brother, he wants to buy a rumah whip, so rumah whip, you have to pay a down payment, 10%. It's compulsory, right? So for that, can he actually use a 100% loan to actually offset the down payment?
You can. There's certain bank able to do 110% or even 120% because they factor in this extra percentage is for legal fees, down payment, and some renovation if you want to use it.
Oh, so it's possible, basically.
Yes, but bear in mind, like I mentioned, the interest rate, you don't argue for that because definitely you can't get 3.8 and it's somewhere higher at 4.5. starting. Yeah,
yes,
that kind of situation.
understand.
The
Again,
bank
it's a
is clever
business,
lah.
ma.
Yeah.
You want more money, I earn money also lah. Cannot you want everything one, ma, bro.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
But that one after 10 years can just refinance to get a lower rate.
Yes.
basically.
But this one, refinance on rumah whip,
Possible ka?
a lot of interesting story to share.
Hey, wait, can share one or not?
Don't know. I also
Okay,
scared.
I'll come back to you, okay, that one.
Okay.
I also scared talking about refinance on rumah whip here.
Yeah, suddenly got people recording
Yeah,
them,
lor.
gone case.
Okay,
You are
that-
talking about affordable house, so
Which is a very interesting topic, right? Technically, you should hold the property for 10 years, some 5 years,
it's
right?
meant for you to own, stay.
So now you refinance based on whose value? There's no transaction war. There shouldn't be transaction war.
Good question. Yeah.
Again,
Very
all
interesting.
your questions. Are you a lecturer by any chance?
Oh, no, I'm an engineer. But
Spy.
Huh? Like all these
Very
questions,
dangerous.
like, oh, it's like my essay. You remind me of my lecturer. So yeah, and then the cool thing is, rumah whip got auction unit one, right? But when I buy auction unit, am I under the same law? Technically, you cannot sell, you cannot rent out, you must stay, whatever lah, right? Or the what depends, rumah whip or rumah Selangorku or rumah Penangku, whatever. If I buy from auction, right, I can flip tomorrow, right? Or this question also I asked YB already. YB got no answer. So he wants to see me soon.
oh, so technically it's legal lah.
Don't know.
Because
Don't
maybe
know.
no
So-
answer, he can't go again.
Because nobody would think from a person to really exploit the system, besides this joker.
But I've done it before, but I just don't want to mention which bank can do that for refinance rumah
You
whip.
can PM Tepi.
Okay.
There's one very famous in Mont Kiara, start with alphabet KK one.
Okay,
That one. The value is so good.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, next.
Okay, one last question for Sean. So earlier we talked about the research and things like that, about location we're not familiar with. Okay, so my question is, what avenue can we go for research? So, for example, myself, that area, I see which condo is done already. So I go to Google review and check their review. I go to Lawyat forum and check their review. Then you find out, got mud rampant at night lah, got flooding lah, all sorts of things. That's one way that I do it. Another way is probably on news lah. Flooding is quite common, very easy to get on news. But things like high pressure gas pipeline, we don't know. No. You won't find it in Lawyat forum. You won't find it in Google Maps. No. So how do we know like all these hidden things? What other avenue can we go for to find this hidden risk lah? That's what I'm asking.
Site visit.
But site visit, can you actually identify like high pressure gas pipeline? and
It's
things?
there, right? Like a lot of people like, why my unit next to cemetery one? Bro, it's next to it. And that's the thing about this generation of buyers. Everything online can settle. So, my argument is like 20 different properties, right? When you go into 20 different properties, in actual person, and this is like the best format ever, you got orange juice lah, coffee lah, people serve you in air condition, right? Your hair still standing after you come out from the sales gallery one. You try going into actual units, dusty, hot, agent maybe show up, maybe don't show up, no car park, illegal, everything, right? That's where you get the true story of everything. And let the agent sell you the property. The best units that I buy, right, is when the agent don't even want to entertain me. Open the door, like, what's the spec? Unit, living room, bedroom, walao, I don't know, man. Then suddenly, like, because he opened the door so many times. Then when you see neighbors in the lift, ask around, the very, very old school way. I like personal preference. I go to the management office and I look in the meeting minutes. But when you go into online, nobody will ever say their project tokong one. Who will go around and say, my project's the best? Mat rempit lah, developer not good lah, management not good lah. Then when you check, what, you didn't even pay maintenance fee? So negativity is always louder. And the worst thing is this, when I do research and I go online and tell people this project actually very good, right? A developer pay him money one. For him to say good things, right? Sure got people pay him money one. That is also another narration that I want to touch on. Why honest review must always be negative? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Then when I say this project so good, right? So a lot of people are like, so what project should I buy? The project that I bought, because I already know it's a good deal, that's why I buy, ma. But when I buy already, will you get the price of mine? I don't think so. So tough. And I wish, that's why I'm heavily pushing on this, right? I wish our market is like Singapore. Everything is there, forum. So you got the balance, good reviews, bad reviews, everything all there. If you look into, and all the reviews, right, must be registered one. Cannot some joker with a squirrel face, right, then put there, No. And you know he's not even an owner. So then suddenly it burns your opportunity to buy that unit already. You get what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. So I would always argue is when you go into a property, you would already kind of feel already. And to me, that why I look into refuse chamber. If the refuse chamber is done up with pride, I don't even need to look in any places already.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right? The most hidden corner of the property is done up with pride. You think I still need to look into the hero spaces, man? That's the real reason why I look at it. If the tiling in the refuse chamber is really aligned, I throw a coin, it wouldn't buckle up. Let's go.
Yep.
But everyone don't care. I will argue like entrance statement. Whoa, I got this arch, got this water feature, whatever, alright? That's for my Grab driver. When's the last time you use your drop off? You don't want one, you will go parking downstairs and use the second tier kind of lift lobby, lo. No aircon, dusty, dark one. No? Then the very nice one for your visitor. I also don't understand. Right? Yeah. So that is also things that I'm trying to change in the industry. So now I see a lot of developers paying a lot of attention to the lift lobby. The location, the space where I frequent the most. Please pay more attention to lift lobbies, refuse chamber, my common corridors than the swimming pool. I use once a year only, right? There enough already. You get what I mean? So that should be the research, and this one can teach or not, pointers only. But when you go to actual site, right, your 3-on-3 and my 3-on-3 is different. I like facing pool, you don't like facing pool, then we will argue, and then see who is the paymaster lah. You get what I mean? Yeah. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
One question for you also lah.
Wow,
Recently,
okay. I thought I called him here. Yes.
I mean, we're talking about maintenance fees, which you kind of like covered just now, right? So recently, I went to view a lot Mont Kiara Subsales lah. Okay, hunting for some good deals. So the first thing or the first journey or lesson I learned from so many of the sites we visit recently, right? I'm looking at the management board, which you covered just now. It's about the maintenance fee. So what I realized here is that if let's say a low density condo in a Mont Kiara, their maintenance fee is kind of like, it's a lot cheaper than whatsoever condo I'm holding right now. 20-30 cents PSF. So for me, it's like, wow, half of whatsoever that I pay for my current condo. So, and I look at the total of the management fees or the maintenance fee that they're able to collect from the GMB, right? So what I learned here is that anything above, I think 250 or 300,000 is considered okay already to cover the maintenance of that project itself for a 300 units density. Is that correct? So
there's no right number.
No right number.
Because I don't know what you put, ma. So now when you have dolphins, mushrooms, stars coming out from the facade, right? Tylo, the one need electricity one now. So the main component for energy within the building, the main bulk of the maintenance cost is 70% electricity.
So mainly the maintenance fees that the owner pays to sustain the whole building.
Of course. Of course.
Is or not the security part, is it? Is the maintenance of the
whole maintenance includes security.
Which actually the portion covers.
Oh, don't know. So it's up to the management body. That's why okay, personally, this one a bit, I don't participate in any WhatsApp group of any of my property investment. Right? I want for mental health.
Same.
You go into any WhatsApp group, right? Well, everybody sounds like a president, right? And that's why also I have absolute respect for the president of any JMB. No salary one, just stand there every day, nothing to do, kena whack. Hey, you see that one, the tree dying, do something lah. Hey, you see that one got pet, do something lah. Tylo. Then that's why I cannot do that job, so I let somebody else do. The only thing to attend is the AGM, and you can look into the final audit papers. That's how you can control. So now, like the day YB was telling me that maybe property buyers, before getting a strata title, you need to attend a course. You need to know your right and responsibility of being an owner. Because last time, real estate investment is I buy all corner lots and I leave it there until my children grow 18. Got lalang ke, no lalang ke, the house will still be there, mama. Then I will make money. Now cannot. And as a strata title owner, you have your rights to maintain the property. And a lot of old school investors absolutely hate it. Why so mafan one? Right? When mafan and making money, then leceh don't want. So that is where the government is trying to change this. So my pure duty as a property investor or owner is I make sure all my maintenance fee tip top number one.
Yeah. this is how I actually used to judge whatsoever that subsale, for example. First, I look at the management board, whether the current owner actually pay the maintenance fees and how many of the percentage of the owner actually paid it. Because it will justify on whether how well is the maintenance of that building.
Also whether the property good or not lah.
Yeah.
Because if everybody making money, pay 300, 500, cincai lah, take lah, right? But if everybody losing money, Airbnb tak boleh, rental cannot cover, I want to sell, cannot sell, right? You want me to pay maintenance fee? Siao are you? I'm losing money, brother. Which is the absolute wrong mindset also. And why suddenly this one become like a public message like that? Okay. I will end you. Anyway, any other question? Lai? Wow, you all want to stand all the way. I feel bad for sitting down. Lai?
Okay,
Yes.
hello. Yeah, this one is more for like a first home property buyer. So just now you talk about subsale and new properties, right? I'm just wondering, right? So, okay, so I'm always under the impression that subsale, right, you actually have to pay more upfront. Yeah, even if you get the loan like 120% also, right? But the cost, like, there's a lot of waivers if you buy new properties compared to subsale. So like, how true is that? That is my first question. And then on the second one, right, is on the purchase intent. Yeah, so for first home buyers, right, I know, I think in your last like previous videos, you did mention like usually buy to rent, then rent to stay, right? Yeah, so for first home, would you actually suggest to buy to stay or rent? Okay, why am I saying this, right, is, for example, if I actually buy a new property, then I had to wait like 2-3 years for it to get ready, right? And then in the meantime, I'm paying my interest, as well as I'm paying my rental as well, like for first home, like if you're staying outside, not with your family. So what is like your take on that? Yeah.
What was the first question again?
Sorry.
Buying a completed versus a
Yeah.
Oh,
under
yeah. Okay.
construction, you know.
My bad. Okay. There's a story before COVID and after COVID. Before COVID, I would argue is pretty similar. Means new property versus the existing subsale. I don't want to price too high or whatsoever. But after COVID happened, suddenly all developers, because the price of materials, resources, everything spiked up. A lot of developer, right? After they complete the project, they lose money one. So with all that new risk imposed, that's why we would think in the company, right? The property price would definitely go up, not because demand is higher, but just simply cost to construct is shot up already. The minimum wage, everything, right, all will shoot up. So when you buy new properties, in order for me to secure and protect my risk, for me to deliver this new property to you in 2028, I need to put in a lot of buffer one, right? I also scared one, because the first thing, the property cannot complete, right? Who's to blame? Developer lah, earn so much money when their profit margin is single digit one. So with that narration, suddenly subsale becomes a little bit more interesting, where 18% is the absolute capital required, but I get the property at today's price. Properties that is sold new is sold at future price. Okay? So the comparison for you, if it's an investment unit, you need to think about tenants will always prefer new units. They don't like old units one. So what Far Capital teach, right, is new versus old. If got new project and old project, same price, which one you buy?
New.
Correct, right? So because of that, why would I want to sell the same price to you, right? So the gauge is 30%. If 30%, within 30%, right, I get to buy the new, I will whack the new. Because tenants will all like the new swimming pool, the new gym, right? This gym, people use before one.
Yep.
Right? But for own stay, not necessarily the case. Because new provided, again, this is argument a bit theoretical also, like new and old in the same row, then we can have this discussion.
Yep.
But if it's not in the same location, pick which one that makes more sense to you, right? And then whether is it an investment. For those who didn't catch the first phrase is I always encourage youngsters to buy projects to invest, rent where I stay. I will never buy a project to live in one because it's an absolute waste of money until my wife comes into the picture. Let's hope that she don't watch this video. Okay, so it's about stages and also your appetite for investment. Are you a person that you think you want to have 20 different properties? Or one or two?
One or two, maybe.
One or two,
Yeah.
correct. So if one or two, I don't want to go this much risk, then I will buy to stay, right? So the criteria my gauge is the struggle here is for investment and for own stay, the property profiles are very different, right? I want very a lot of people but I pick check. Every day the lift all full one with people. I don't like it. But the property that I like, very quiet, close to nature, no people want to rent one, right? Rental very, very low one. So it's a balance, and that balance is called 85% rule. As long as my rent can cover 85% of my installment, I buy for own stay, go ahead. Because a lot of people who go to that extreme end in buying my own stay, right, the thing that I absolutely love, and love is temporary also. Suddenly circumstances change, right, or boyfriend change, or whatever change, right, oh, this location don't make sense anymore. Then you want to sell. Because there's absolutely no reason for you to stay in that house, gone case. Then property investment cannot make money one. It's because you buy with the wrong intent, right? So if when resources is limited, always stick to the investment first approach. Whether you set or not, right, make money can already. Cry later, right? A lot of people, this one close to my future husband's family house or whatsoever. What if, not saying that I wish you all break up but it happens, right? So then I don't think it's that realistic. And whether to rent or not, that's why in this situation I would argue. I would argue to continue renting until I really need the house to build a family. Okay, so I don't know whether is that your boyfriend, right? Whether you were like, shouldn't bring him here. This fleur, I want to buy dream house, cannot. So this is on a circumstance that I got no money. Every dollar count, this is the approach. But if I have all the money in the world, right, buy whatever, help the Malaysian economy, right, buy bungalow, whatever, go ahead. But rental is still having that stigma currently, especially from Chinese to Chinese, right? Like for my own, I always bring up this story, right? My relative, kesian my kid, you so kesian, need to live in the rented house. What the? Like, why? After I rent, it's not a house, is it? I don't understand the logic, but to them, right, they got no security. You think he know me? And I'm paying 4,000 a month. It's not like cheap punya rental house. The benefit is I get to maximize whatever money I have for future security. That makes more sense, right? So and if you are in a couple situation, have this talk. A lot of people assume he will know, he will assume you will know, then jing. Okay, just an advice, right? Never join name and buy property. That's all I'm saying, right? For those who have not watched the video, go watch. So that's all, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I have one more question. So like just now on refinancing, right? Does it matter if it's freehold or leasehold when it comes to that? Like many years down the road?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
60 years also don't matter? After 60 years?
After 60 years old,
No,
sorry.
no, okay.
You're talking about master title or what? No, what she's asking
Yeah,
about.
correct. Okay, freehold or leasehold, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
this one, sorry, I sampat. But if it's after 60 years, if I refinance also, it doesn't matter?
So if the property is a leasehold, you're left with only less than, I think it would be problem if let's say less than 65. Then that one, majority of the bank also don't consider want to refinance it. But of course, if you're holding a leasehold property and you're left with this kind of loan tenure, it's also a question, should you buy or not, correct or not? But I think right now on this refinancing, it's nothing to do with freehold or leasehold, but the most important is actually, can you get a value or not at this moment when you want to refinance? Okay, so for example, if let's say back then, touch wood, you bought a property and you overpaid it. I give example, Cyberjaya property.
I was praying it didn't go that direction, but it's okay.
No, just to give example because it's pretty good, right? So back then, the whole Cyberjaya, I think they marketing it based on a cyber tech, MSC, and a lot of new project was actually selling at way above 1,000 PSF. 10 years today, I did quite a couple of refinance COVID time all the way until right now. It can never fetch on a subsale a valuable one to give 1,000 PSF in Cyberjaya today. So that's a good example. Not to comment on Cyberjaya. I just went for a property tour last weekend. You should go to look at the current Cyberjaya versus 10 years ago, guys. So it's completely different story. But because this situation here is because back then, overpaid. And today you want to query and ask for this kind of valuation today, still cannot get, because it's overpaid. So in this situation, when you want to refinance this type of property, is quite hard because none of the valuer actually want to give you this unless you go and top up the differences on the loan amount. Other than that, I think let's touch a little bit on refinance, the latest guideline. Do we have time?
I worry you go very deep, then even I don't understand.
But the latest guideline when it comes to refinance, anyone, especially if you are cashing out from your property. Because there's many reasons why we want to do refinance. I did a reels and people, commented on my reels, I'm bullshit and scammer. Because I just thought about what is the latest guideline when we are talking about refinance cash out, right? Majority of us, you can do a refinance to bring down the effective interest rate. Especially if, let's say, you signed the letter offer 5 years ago and your current effective interest rate is 4.5. No point that you shouldn't consider to refinance to bring down to 3.8. Especially if, let's say, one bank at the behind, start with SC, this zero moving cost, you can bring down as low as 4.2% without incur any cost. The bank pay for you the legal fees. 4.5 to 4.2 without any legal fees, you don't want to do, man. For me, sure do one, ma. Unless the property, like I said, you overpaid, the valuer cannot value it and you need to put your own money on the loan difference. Or else, go for it. Anything of you guys, if today your housing loan is 4.3 and above, I think you should highly looking into it to bring down the effective interest rate. I don't want to do, which is another one. I think today none of you guys asking about tariff, a hot topic
Why
this
you
week.
remind?
I'm just curious. Because tariff will lead to a lot of things, on this refinance and the banking guideline and Bank Negara Malaysia, things like that. So I'm talking about the cooling measure that Bank Negara Malaysia will do in the next 3 to 6 months. If this thing is continuously happening, like every day, President Trump, I open, the news every day different one. Don't know what Trump is trying to do, right? But the question also is, will it impact Malaysia so fast, right? I don't think it will lah. We are not that big, for us to have this impact. But in 3 to 5 years, maybe we will see it. If this US and China trade war is continuously to happen. So the nearest comparison we can do with is actually COVID lah. Whenever a crisis happens, Bank Negara Malaysia will do something, which it will lead to the cooling measures and tightening of guideline. And it will bring to this refinance. Which right now, we already see it. Started last year, July, all the way until right now, the refinance cash out guideline is keep changing one. I think every banker behind also a bit headache already. July last year, we are able to do refinance cash out, but the tightening guideline from maximum 35 years, it brings to maximum 10 years. It's just 10 years loan tenure maximum. Today, last month, Bank Negara Malaysia announced another tightening of the guideline. Whenever a refinance cash out is capped at maximum 200,000 only and at a 10 years loan tenure. So if this economic crisis is going to happen, for the next 3 to 6 months, I predict this one, don't take it serious, disclaimer first. Later, hey, this Reena go and predict something happen to the market, right? Because this is just whatsoever that we learn from the past history, what happened in COVID time. So the prediction is that I think Bank Negara will reduce the OPR on another 25 basis point. The next revise will be on May. So if let's say this President Trump, US-China trade war is ongoing, right? I think in the market right now, people already scared. The fear of economy crisis, the fear of economy weakening, all this. But what we see right now is, this is the start of US and China trade war lah. So technically, slowly you will see that people fear to actually make decision. People fear of making big purchase. I also pause already whatsoever, all these stocks thingy, lady ma, So
Hey, this is not gender, okay? You should look at my auntie.
I am not auntie ma. So, but of course another thing is that never catch a falling knife lah. I don't know. That's for myself.
Okay, that's why I worry she opened up this kind of worm.
So that's just a prediction,
Like we go back to refinancing, right? So all these are just tools for governments to control the market. When COVID time, everybody panic. So I dropped interest rate to 1.7. I loosen up loans, right? That's why property will boom. People like me suddenly can buy properties at that time, right? So it encouraged the market. But now when you see refinancing constantly being tightened, right? What does it indicate? Property market is very, very good because refinancing has always been a tool for us to extract out equity from our existing asset and buy more. So technically, I don't have to incur more cost to buy more, and I just squeeze out whatever that I built. But now when trade war happens, market bad, everybody panic. To me, I'm very happy when. Why? If interest rate... Okay, we just had our decade high number for Malaysia, property last quarter. No, last year's quarter.
Last year, 2024.
Right? For the past decade, and we still feel like the market still very bad. Numbers shows otherwise already, right? And you combo that with interest drops some more, what's going to happen? And you look into the amount of launches, everybody handbrake. It means new supply is dropping. Then you think people who want to buy house, is it the same number or increasing? That's why I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. So it's either so. The thing is it a falling knife or is it a good knife? I don't know what's the analogy. But all I'm saying is inflation will definitely happen.
Yep.
Right? Inflation of materials now is going crazy. And what will be a hedge against inflation? And that's something that we all need to figure out where to put our money. I'm very excited though. I'm very, very excited. So that's why when she opened up and then I was like, I worry this will turn into a crypto channel, but
I'm super happy during the COVID time when it comes to the bank guideline.
Yeah,
all
so
this HOC, whatsoever the government gonna
they
do.
will make buy.
Yeah.
But then in the market got nothing to buy because nobody is launching. Okay, next question. Okay, I think we are supposed to close at 4. Okay, last three more questions.
Last 3. All right.
Like 3 more questions. Let's go.
Hi, John. I'm Robin.
Hi.
You emphasize a lot on buying money-making property as a strategy.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that your goal was to buy 25 properties. And currently you are buying 1 to 2 property per year. What is the...
You're making me very scared, but let's go on.
sorry. Okay.
You sound like my income tax officer.
Yeah. Secretly. Okay, so what is the capital of financing method that you use or can share that allow you to make such purchases every year? Because for context, right, I also bought a property since I was 21, and after 10 years, my maximum capacity is like 1 property every 3 years.
Okay.
And that's like my financially and mentally. So like, is there a way to get about that?
Short answer is make a lot of money. Okay, and the thing is, I managed to do that without monetizing everybody here. There's absolutely no way you can give me any goodie or make money from whatever. So that's the beauty of what I'm doing right now. So I secretly make money. The other one is the source of deals. So there's a lot of in the market where the amount of discount given, right, can absolutely cover the capital required. There's a lot of ways to go about it. And also, the key point of Malaysia's property market is the lack of transparency. You will never know what price I pay the developer. And nobody will know, besides the salesperson and the boss, of course. So SPA all same one. Your same price, I same price one, but behind, we can settle the P. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? Depends on which side you are standing in on. So if the 70% loan is a problem, there's a lot of ways to go about it, right? We can go commercial, we can buy bulk purchase, we can refinance the earlier ones to get out, we can refinance to AIA, so it's not under the secret system. All this I've shared online. And this applies only when the past purchases all solid. Because I got, is it PDHD or ADHD? I forgot. I also kanjong. Until now, I signed the SPA, right? I also still scared. Because of the very terrible investment I made in Johor. I thought for sure win already. I have all make money. I'm like God like that. Then one tight slap to my face. Right? So until now, I also scared, which is a great lesson. And that's the fear that I wish everybody should have. Don't think, right, your first purchase good or second is by default one. Because like if you got 8 or 10 or 25, one terrible one, gone case. To an extent now, I have safety buffers. Like for every property I have, I got 6 months rental to cover. So if I got 25, this is the amount of cash that's lying around. Lo. Means that I can afford for my unit to be absolutely empty for 6 months. That's my safety factor. So people say, sure, you know kanjiong meh? It's all good. But then, where does this money come from? Practically, I buy nothing one, besides watches and property. I buy nothing else one. To an extent where I got no Lazada account, no Shopee account. Shopee just deactivated my account. Because 6 years, zero activity. Bro, you exist or not? So that is me. And
Because your wife buy lah.
my wife buy, true, but then like I got no shopping interest one. Like this is sponsored, this is sponsored. To an extent, like to a board, I wish nobody to be like me also because economy cannot roll. I want only watch lah. Correct, you're right. So I wish everybody to spend money. So yeah lah.
So talking about refinancing, right? After I refinance already, is the interest still able to expense off the tax, the rental income?
Yes.
Oh.
So okay, very good observation. For my first property, when I bought, I don't want to say how many years ago, when I was 25. So after building equity, I refinanced the property again. So suddenly my installment, which is about 1,006, I still remain to be 1,006. But I also have the option to go down because I can just only refinance the outstanding amount, right? So let's say my property is 300,000, now left 200,000, I stretch again 35 years. So I get more cash flow every month. Or I cash out to market value, I get one lump sum of cash like 60,000, but my current rent still cover the installment. So I got extra 60,000 for me to buy watch, which I did lah. So, and the property is still rolling. That's why the limitation on refinancing, because this is the game that every property investor play. So it's very hard to play the catch-up game if you don't start. You got nothing to refinance, there's no equity to milk out from. Your car is not going to give you anything, right? So yeah, very good observation. That is the tool that I use until they tighten. So now it's based on 10 years. So everything that you can original refinance out, you divide by 3. Last time I can refinance 100,000, now only 33. Then it wouldn't worth the effort anymore. That's how government is stopping us from buying more.
Still got way lah to get the 35. Okay lah.
Cherry,
Phobia.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So then like now got maximum 200,000 only you can cash out. You can always engineer things, ma. Malaysia, boleh, right? Yeah, you get what I mean? So that's the game. And when I play this, right, so I used to whack as much as I can before my 35 years period. Imagine if our property market really boom. Is the market going to be tighter or looser? Tighter. And it's like property investors are going to be like dinosaurs, no more around. So that's my game. Putting it out there. So I got to better make it really. You get what I mean? Yeah. But cool, man. Like, 2 more question. Going once. Like auction like that. If not, we will still be hanging around here. You can, this is the session that everybody likes. You can tell me all your income statement and things like that here. No need to be online, right? And Reena will still be here too, right? Okay. So, and for those who have turned out today, thank you very much for spending 2 hours, 3 hours, listen to one person blabbering about property, right? There's way better things to do. Because all these are on YouTube. So, I really appreciate everybody for coming. And if you are, since you are here, go check out the sales gallery to clock in the 20 different properties. So you can check out, okay, Sean said 20, then 20 lah, hiya. And I think that's all for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you.